This is the Behind the Line podcast, coming to you from the crazy, chaotic lines of the Pacific Northwest. And this is Pacific Northwest Headline News. Well, we have our elections coming up here real soon in Washington. And my question is, are you going to vote to make some changes in the King County and Puget Sound area when it comes to these Democrat policies? It's been a violent weekend and last few days in the Puget Sound area. There was a double homicide in Georgetown the other day. Last night, on Halloween, we had a drive-by shooting at Alki Beach. Seattle police say they're searching for a light-colored SUV after a drive-by shooting left 2 people hurt on Halloween night. The shooting happened along Alki Beach in West Seattle near Alki Avenue and 67th Avenue Southwest just after 10 p.m. There were 2 37-year-old victims, a man and a woman with gunshot wounds. Both victims transported to Harborview. More than 24 shell casings were found at the scene. I mean, this is Seattle. This is our safe city, right, Mayor? Right, Patty Murray? I mean, Alki, those neighborhoods, usually considered relatively safe. Apparently not. And here's another happy story from Seattle. Seattle police are searching for the person who they say stole a car that belongs to a family whose baby boy, just underwent brain surgery at the Seattle Children's Hospital. The car was stolen Friday evening around 8 p.m. from one of the parking garages at the hospital. I hope they know that we had my son's medications in there. We had everything in there, Callie Fager said. Her son William underwent brain surgery Friday morning. We just happened to be dealing with our 1-year-old going through brain surgery, which was terrifying enough. And just to take a car from anywhere, let alone a children's hospital, one of the hospitals that helps so many children, it's just completely disgusting and horrible. No kidding. It's sick. These are the dirt bags we have in this city that aren't being dealt with, that there's no consequences for. The city just keeps letting them out. Why? What is the reason? They want this chaos. Tacoma, 10 a.m. Tuesday, Tacoma police respond to the Pacific Manor Apartments on Pacific Avenue for a welfare check. At one of the units, according to probable cause documents, dispatch advised that a witness was with several children, and one of the children reported that their mother had been dead inside the apartment. The child also said there was blood and their mother had been shot 11 times by her boyfriend. When officers arrived, they had been advised that a woman had been shot and 3 children were possibly in immediate danger. The officers kicked the front door and found 3 children ages 5, 3, and 2 inside the apartment. This dirtbag is in custody, but shot the mother 11 times in front of her kids and then actually put a gun to the oldest child's head before running from the scene. No doubt it'll come out that this guy has a lengthy criminal history, known to law enforcement, been in custody, yada, yada, yada. The same thing with all these criminals that get picked up for these crimes that are happening repeatedly around these counties. Numerous chances to lock these people up or keep them in custody, but our public officials just keep letting them out, just keep letting them go. Just more of these criminal justice failures, and we're the ones that pay the price, and there's no repercussions for these politicians and judges and prosecutors who refuse to do their jobs, who refuse to protect the public from danger. Well, like I said, you have an opportunity here to make some changes with this go-round for public policies, namely Patty Murray. This lady has been in office for forever, for 30 years or more. She's done nothing good for the public. She has allowed this lapse in criminal justice and crime and homelessness and everything else to go on in her state. And it's time for a change. It is time for something different. And the latest poll shows Murray leading Tiffany Smiley by just 1 point in the U.S. Senate race. They are in a statistical tie. So if you're on the fence about voting or think it doesn't matter, it's going to matter. It's going to come down to a few votes. You need to get out there and vote for change. Vote for something different. Get her out of office. Let's start making some positive changes towards criminal justice in this state, which Tiffany Smiley has promised to do. And hopefully those are more than just shallow political promises, but it couldn't be any worse than what we have now. So we might as well try something new, don't you think? Well, good old Jay Inslee was touring a homeless shelter in Seattle on Wednesday and started talking about his plans for the 2023 budget to deal with the homeless crisis in the state of Washington. He says the state needs more housing and soon. In the short term, he says he wants more shelters and transitional housing to get people back on their feet. The state estimates Washington has 12,000 unhoused residents. If you go on the Seattle One website for homeless action, it says in Seattle alone, there are more than 40,000 homeless people. So the governor isn't even aware of just how bad it really is. Of course, he's talking about needing affordable housing. He's blaming high rent and home prices for the lack of housing in the state. In the end, he did not specify a specific number of what he wants to spend next year, but in 2022, he says the state spent $829 million in housing and homeless services. This is according to Washington Office of Financial Management. Inslee says 2023 will require a more aggressive approach and therefore more funding. You know, what these people haven't learned is throwing money at the situation isn't solving the problem. It's only gotten worse, even though they've continued to spend more and more money. Well, big city issues are also finding their way to Idaho. The new police chief, who's been there in Caldwell, Idaho now since July, said he wants more officers of color and local focus. And he wants police to build the trust of the badge. I don't see an issue necessarily with having, obviously you want people of the community in your workforce because it makes it a better workforce. But what the problem becomes is if they start looking at color as the main reason for hiring, which is a bad road to go down because you get people who just aren't qualified sometimes. Martinez is one of 9 Latino officers in the Caldwell Police Department, which patrols a city that is 36% Latino, but Caldwell's police force is only 14% Latino. Police Chief Rex Ingram, who joined the department in July, told the Idaho Statesman that he is trying to bridge the gap between the Latino community and the overwhelmingly white force. Ingram, who is partially Hispanic, said in an August interview that the department is working to hire more officers of color and who speak Spanish, but Ingram said the community first needs to trust the department. You have to hire from the community, and you have to bring in folks that are from your community that look like you and you look like them. I agree, but like I said, when you're getting down to numbers and you start looking at percentages of this and percentages of that, it's just a mistake. If you want people to trust the police, you need to hire people that are competent and don't make stupid decisions, which we're seeing a lot of lately across the board. You need to hire guys that are street smart and have common sense and know how to make decisions. whatever color they happen to be, and not worry so much about this percentage of this people and this percentage of that people. Yes, there needs to be people who can relate to the community you're serving, clearly, obviously. But don't let that become the primary focus of hiring, because you will not hire people that are qualified for the job. They need to possess all the skills to be a good police officer, to be trusted by the community, and not just look like the people they're serving. Because then you've got somebody that just looks like a cop, but doesn't know how to be one. Here's a disturbing story out of Eugene, Oregon, and I was just wondering before Halloween how much truth there is to the reports of razor blades being found in candy. Well, it's happened. The Eugene Police Department is investigating several reports of razor blades found in Halloween candy. Detectives are investigating 3 similar reports, all in the area from West 24th to West 27th and Tyler to Friendly. In a statement on Facebook, police said the razors appeared to be something similar to a pencil sharpener blade. Police advise parents to check their children's trick-or-treat candies before they eat them. What is wrong with people? Why would you put razor blades in Halloween candy? Why would you do something like that to little kids? This is the kind of world that we live in. Freaks and mental people everywhere. And here's another highly disturbing story out of Oregon. The mayor of Rufus, Oregon, was arrested for a road rage incident on Monday where he fired multiple rounds at a vehicle carrying a family of 4, according to the Hood River Sheriff's Office. Dowan Jones was reportedly lodged at the Northern Oregon Corrections Facility and faces multiple charges, including attempted murder and 4 counts of first-degree attempted assault. Officials say that just before 8:45 p.m. on Halloween, a family was traveling south on Highway 281 when they witnessed an SUV in front of them that was driving erratically. The SUV reportedly abruptly pulled over in the 6,000 block of the highway, which concerned the family. But as they slowed down to attempt to get a description of the car, Jones allegedly got out of the car and fired multiple shots from a handgun at the passing family, causing damage to the vehicle. The vehicle was occupied by 2 adults and 2 children aged 8 and 5. No one was injured in the shooting. On Tuesday, investigators say they located the vehicle involved in the shooting and then identified Jones as the shooter. The investigation is ongoing. This is a mayor. Jones has been the mayor since 2018 in the town of Rufus with a population of 270 people. He won the election with 76 votes. His term ends in December. Scott Holliday, president of the Rufus City Council, said Jones is an electrician who sometimes attends the Baptist church where Holliday is pastor. Well, it sounds like he needs to attend church a little more often, doesn't it? Jones, also a photographer, is not running for re-election. Rufus is located in Sherman County, 100 miles east of Portland. This is just a little snapshot into the minds of politicians, isn't it? I know it's a small town, some little guy out in the middle of nowhere, but it's just a picture of the bigger picture. These politicians are sociopathic. They're nuts. And you can see it the way they're running our cities and counties and country into the ground. I want to talk about this Paul Pelosi assault in San Francisco a little bit. I don't want to go into the whole story because everybody's talking about that. But I do want to say, I think it's amazing that this guy that did the assault is somebody that all these Democrats are always fighting for. They're always supporting homeless, deranged vagrants on drugs, living in a bus. I mean, this is the poster child of the Democratic Party. And I'm glad it was one of those types of people. You know, it's unfortunate that Pelosi was assaulted, obviously, but I'm glad that it was one of those types of people. It was one of the Democrat people. And now they're all scrambling, trying to say that it's, you know, right-wing social media that pushed this guy to do this. But it's not the case. And if you do any research at all and look this guy up, you can see that he's had a history of mental illness. Not to mention, he's an illegal alien. He's overstayed his visa by decades. And they say he's from Canada, but if you dig deeper, he's actually from Russia. So here you've also got an illegal alien, which is also, you know, Democrat Party stronghold, especially in California. You've got old Gavin Newsom going on national media saying that, you know, Jesse Waters, Fox News reporter, is to blame. That it's because of him making fun of Paul Pelosi's DUI and dehumanizing Nancy, that no other politician has been dehumanized more than poor old Nancy Pelosi. What a load of garbage. How about Trump? You know, all the things said about that guy. Or any other politicians that support Trump. Or how about anybody that voted for Trump and what Democrat politicians have said about them? Does that matter, Gavin? Does that count? You don't see us going out and breaking into politicians' homes and beating them up because of things that you've said about us. No, the person to blame, I think squarely, is old Gavin Newsom himself. It's his policies about homelessness and mental health and illegal immigration that have created this guy who broke into Pelosi's house and did what he did. It's those policies, Democrat policies, Gavin Newsom's policies, that created that guy and gave him the opportunity to do what he did. So the blame lies squarely on you, Mr. Governor. I think there's still a lot of questions surrounding this whole incident too, and I'd really like to know how it is that some deranged, drugged, homeless man broke into the Speaker of the House's home unabated. There's no alarm system. There's no security. Please explain this to me. I think the story is just a little bit fishy at best. And right before midterm elections, how convenient. And Pelosi's house was broken into just before elections, years ago. So it's just very interesting, isn't it? And here's a serious problem that gets very little attention in California. The water crisis. The Democrats don't seem too concerned about giving you drinking water. So the city of Coalinga, California, is in an intensifying drought. New restrictions and skyrocketing water prices are forcing farmers to sacrifice their crops. Roadside signs warn against watering front lawns as residents brace for higher water bills as the precious resource disappears. This is what a city on the brink of running out of water looks like. We can't continue this. It's not sustainable for our community, Coalinga City Councilman Adam Atkinson told CNN. Coalinga usually gets its water through an aqueduct, which runs from the San Luis Reservoir about 70 miles northwest of the city, but as the West megadrought pushes reservoir levels to precarious new lows, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation this year reduced the amount of water Coalinga could take from the reservoir by 80%. The restriction left Coalinga short about 600 acre-feet of water through March 2023, which is nearly 200 million gallons, and the equivalent of about 300 Olympic-sized swimming pools. With the city on track to run out of water by mid to late November, Merry Christmas, Coalinga, Officials turned to the increasingly expensive open market to make up the difference. They finalized a purchase from a California public irrigation district last week. The city's price tag for life's most basic necessity was roughly $1.1 million, Atkinson tells CNN. The same amount of water used to cost $114,000. Unbelievable that California has got itself in this position. They're more concerned about all these social issues and their green agenda, and their population doesn't even have water. Well, let's hope that the water deliveries will come, and that where they're buying it from doesn't also get too dangerous. These cities are going to be fighting each other for water. You have to have water to live. Does old Governor Gavin Newsom understand that? That his people need to have water? Keep this in mind when you vote for the midterms, because these Democrats' priorities are all out of whack. Their priorities should be basic life needs, safety, security, all these things, economy, and yet they seem to ignore the basic things people need, like water, food, electricity. It's confusing to me why people vote for these people to be in office. This is what you get. Thank you for listening to the Behind the Line podcast. For more, visit behindthelinepodcast.com. You can also find us on netnewsnetwork.net, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, Gab, Parler, and Truth Social. Please like, share, and subscribe.